I had to bail my son out of jail 3 times. He's got 2 kids with 2 different women. He needs to step up and be a man. The only payment I ever received from him was a nasty email saying he could kick my butt and I was a crippled old man.
Cue the defendant.
My father never acknowledged me as his son until I was 10 years old after a DNA test. I'm here missing work, so I don't know him anything.
All right, the plaintiff, Dennis Mendola, is suing his son, Dennis White, for bail money and court costs, and Dennis White is countersuing his father for lost wages. Now, let me say, gentlemen, after reading your statements, I don't sense a loving father-son bond here. I was shocked to read what you wrote about your son, that he's a low-life, disgusting individual, and you say he only admitted to being your father after a DNA test. He's never been in your life. Now, I'll start with you, Dennis. Is it true? Is it true that, you, according to your statements, did everything you could to be in your son's life? Well, talk to me about this.
Yes, Your Honor. I've actually bailed my son out of jail a few times. After the second time I bailed him out, I told him if there is a third time, don't call me because I'm not going to bail you out again.
Well, let me go back, Dennis. I mean, like as with most cases, there is a lawsuit, but when you peel back the layers of the onion, there's something else going on here. So tell me about your relationship with your son.
Well, in the beginning, what had happened was I was married to his mom. She knew at the time I was young, I didn't want to have children. Nothing, I just was young, I wasn't ready to have children. She got pregnant anyways. I did the right...
Takes 2 to get pregnant.
Correct. Yes, that's true.
But
I did the right thing. I married her because I got her pregnant. I tried to work it out with her. I provided a home. I was working 80 hours a week. What she used to do is I'd have to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I would get up. She'd be nowhere to be found. I'd have to find a babysitter for Dennis. She would leave in the middle of the night, and sometimes she wouldn't come home for a week.
What, did she have a drug problem? What was her problem?
Drinking.
Alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
She would go out partying or whatever.
So who would take care of the baby?
I would have to find a babysitter. Most of the time it was my mom.
Okay.
So after several months...
why is he saying that you didn't pay DNA, that you didn't pay for him until there was a DNA test? You didn't think he was your son?
Back at that point, I just wanted to be sure because, like I said, she took off every night,
Yeah, but you were sure because that's why you married her. You just said to me she got pregnant, so I married her.
Correct.
If you didn't think it was your baby, you wouldn't have married her. Yes? No?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay. So you have a problem with the mother. The mother's not around.
Correct.
Where does he go? To your mom's?
Yes.
Okay. When Dennis was 12 years old, I had him removed from his mother's house because the living conditions were unacceptable. So your father is saying that he had you move in with his mom.
He didn't have me move in with my mom. I had actually...
You're 12 years old.
Right. I was talking to my grandmother. My mom's electric had got shut off. I had told my grandmother about it. My grandmother had said it to him. I believe that he seen it as a way... At that time, I got emancipated. So
at the age of 12, you were emancipated?
That's the only way I would have been able to go with my grandmother. And the child support only started at 10.
You don't get emancipated at the age of 12, Dennis.
They did emancipate me.
And that is absolutely impossible at the age of 12.
That's exactly how it happened, Your Honor.
Okay, you're exactly wrong. Now, talk to me about child support. What happened with him? Did you ultimately pay child support?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I've brought a sample of... They used to take... $216 out of every one of my checks, and this is just a sample of them from my last job. I've paid thousands and thousands of child support.
Well, how did you end up at grandma's, Dennis?
Because his mother was totally unfit. That's why I divorced her. She ruined his life. And just as an example, I've helped raise my girlfriend's kids for the last 12 years, and they're both extremely successful. One's actually a Marine. The other one's actually in school to become a physician.
That's wonderful.
And I've been with them since they were 7, 8 years old.
Stand up for a second. What is your name?
Renee.
Renee. Okay, Renee. Where was he living when you came into his life?
He was living with his mother.
Okay.
And the situation was unfit because his mother does drink, and she also uses other things. So the situation was bad. But
Okay.
we've opened the door for him to come stay with us lots of times.
That's never happened.
I mean, I've apologized to him about the earlier years. We've tried to reconcile this. I've bent over backwards for him, Your Honor. Anytime he needed money, you can ask my girlfriend. I've always given him money, anything he needed, and he just chooses not to have a relationship with me. There's nothing else I can do.
Why can't you have a relationship?
I got to the point where I realized that when he wanted to reconcile and he really wanted to show effort, I was a grown man. I didn't really need him as much.
So you
as,
were angry because it wasn't...
Not so much angry, just I felt not a need for him as much as before. And I felt that he didn't show any effort to try to make up anything from the past.
But what I looked at, Dennis, in this file, I've got some emails here.
Right.
Show me the emails that you have.
I have them, Your Honor. I've highlighted them for you.
I've seen some horrific stuff in these emails.
The highlighted parts are the things that he said to me, which were very disrespectful.
And, Your Honor, that is the only time that I've spoke my mind to my father.
You're a crippled old man. Don't let the gym go to your head. I'll probably beat your ass anyway, so let's not take it there. Man up and stop whining like a bee, whatever. This is your email. I've only gotten 3 girls pregnant in my whole life.
No, ma'am. I have 2 children.
What happened to the other pregnancy?
It was a miscarriage.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you're not paying child support.
I am paying child support. For one of my children, the other one lives with me.
Is he paying child support?
Your Honor, I have court documents that show all the
You lying to me, Dennis?
liens against him, which is thousands of dollars because he's never paid child support for his kids.
No, I do pay child support. What it was is when I was originally taken to court for the child support, my son was already 8 years old. So I had...
Ah, boy, that sounds familiar. You're not taking care of your own kids, and you're complaining about him when I've got receipts here that they took money out of his check every week for years. From the time you were born, they backdated the child support. You're doing exactly what you're accusing him of.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Here's the evidence. Let's get to the lawsuit, and then I want to talk to you. You're suing him for bail.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened?
I bailed him out of jail, like I said, on several occasions.
Once.
The second time I bailed him out, I said, if there's a third, don't call me because I'm not going to bail you out.
What did you bail him out of jail for?
The last one, I believe, was assault and child endangerment. The one before that was drugs and
Who's
robbery.
the child endangered?
Never drugs or robbery.
His son.
Never drugs or robbery. And the
If
child
you run a
endangerment...
rap sheet on him, Your Honor,
hold it,
you'll
hold
see
it.
everything I'm telling you.
Stop it.
Crazy.
Let me just get the facts here, gentlemen. He's arrested for child endangerment.
That is true. I was driving without a license. He was in the back seat. They said that was child endangerment.
Well, he punched the windshield and ripped the mirror off, and it almost hit the kid.
How much was the bail?
I put $340, and then this is the court cost.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
that's the
so
receipt
he's
from the
suing you,
bail.
Dennis, for the bail. He says that you called him, agreed to pay him, and he's got the receipt and the money. Talk to me.
I did call him from jail, and I said, Dad, you know, I need you. Can you get me out? There was never, ever any agreement to pay him back, ever. How would it would be a year later, now all of a sudden he wants me to pay him back because I got back with the ex-girlfriend when I got out of jail.
What does he care about your ex-girlfriend?
Are
Do
you
you
kidding me?
care about his ex-girlfriend?
That is what he told me, that the #1 priority was if he was going to get me out. I was not to talk to her. I was not to go back to her. All she does is get me in trouble.
So I guess he isn't an uncaring father.
Well, he was playing the part at that time, but that's probably the only time. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's how he is.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely
all right.
I am.
You're suing him now. What are you suing him for?
I had to take 2 days off of work to be here.
You're angry with him.
Not at all.
Yes, you are.
Not at all. I'm past it.
You called him a cripple. You said you'd beat his whatever.
That's because he was talking about me
but it's
in a
my
previous
turn to
one.
talk.
Okay.
Okay, and I want you to listen to me.
I'll listen.
Okay. Focus.
I'm focused.
Okay.
Right here.
You're angry. You may be justified in being angry. It wasn't until you were 10 that your father admitted that he was your dad. You were living with your mom, who was a substance abuser. All right? You hurt. Anger usually comes from hurt. All right? I get it. Now, I know that you've been in jail at least 3 times, 4 times.
Yes.
It doesn't matter to me. But what I know is you're on a wrong path. You've gotten 3 girls pregnant. You've got child support liens. You're fighting with your father, who came to your aid. I want to just draw a picture for you.
Okay.
You are your father.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know that.
But you're doing to your kids what you think he did to you. I want you to listen to me. I'm giving you advice. Advice isn't free very often. You've got to get yourself on the straight and narrow. He's a decent guy. Was he around for you in the beginning? No, he wasn't. But you know what? He worked hard and he paid the bills. Finally, he did that, and he got his life squared away. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to give him the money for the bail. There's no question in my mind he posted that bail for you.
Yeah, he did.
And as far as I'm concerned, you're not getting money for being here today. In fact, you should take today as an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't like him. I'm mad at him. maybe you can go for a cup of coffee. He's got a lot to tell you because he's been to hell and back. I could tell. He's had his problems. He's had a lot of problems too, which is why he ran away. And shame on you for doing that. Shame on you. What you did to this kid is evidenced in what he's doing to his kids. $355 for the plaintiff, so ordered. The kid is hurting so much. He's just hurting. And I couldn't do anything to make him connect with his father. And, you know, people who are angry, they beat their wives, they beat their girlfriends, they beat their kids. He's on a bad path. And you know what? He's only lying to himself. I hope that he's able to get through life without getting into more trouble.
I think Dennis has very, very bad judgment and supervision, and I think he's headed down a really bad road, just like the judge said.
He could have made up for it, and he's had plenty of chances to make up for it and hasn't done it yet. So why do I have to give him the effort?